Well, hello, this is Mr. Green. I am going to start making the recordings myself. I've been using someone else's recordings for the past couple of days, but I am, for the first unit at least, until we got a few things handled and underway. What I'm going to be doing is making these recordings myself from now on, so I appreciate your being patient with me and knowing that we're getting there. So, what are we doing? In Unit 2, we're going to start talking about graphing of lines. Now, there's several ways that you can do the graphing of lines. First one here talks about finding the x and the y intercepts of a line and then finding the given the equation of line. How do you find the x and the y intercepts? Determining the slopes of the lines given the graph of an equation. And then also the last one here is drawing the graphs of lines given the equation. So I want to look at all three of those different topics, okay? So let's look at the first one there. Finding the x and y intercepts of a line given the equation of a line. Well, if I'm given an equation, and it doesn't matter which one of the different forms of the equation of a line that I'm given, all I've got to do is know that the x-intercept is when y equals 0. So if I put 0 in for y, then I can solve the equation using my algebraic methods and find the x-intercept. From the same perspective, the y-intercept is when x equals 0. So all I got to do is stick 0 in for x and solve the equation for the value of y. Now I've got 2 points. One of them is a x value with a y is 0. The other one is a y value with a x value. So I just go over the number of x and put a point on the axis there. And the other one I go up the y and put a point there. Now I can connect those 2 points with a line. Simple as pie. Okay? The next one here says determine the slopes given the graph or of an equation. Okay? Well, if I'm given the graph, you know we can use the rise over the run. Okay? That's the algebraic terms. Okay? Rise over run. Well, there's actually a mathematical equation for that. It's the x2 minus x1. We're going to pick any 2 points, x1, y1, x2, y2, and we're going to take x2 minus y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. The rise over the run. If I take the y values, the difference in them, and divide it by the difference in the x values, that gives me the rise over run. That gives me the slope. If I know the slope and a point, I put the point on a graph and I count up the slope and over the slope. Okay, the rise and the run. And that usually gives me a second point. Connect the 2 points and I've got a line. Okay? If I've got the graph, I use those 2 points to find the rise over the run, and I can go backwards that way. So, drawing graphs of line given the equation, easiest way to do this is use the calculator. What? Using the calculator? You're actually recommending I use the calculator to do this? It's the easiest way to do this, okay? Here is a TI-84 calculator. You probably have one of these. If you don't, you got to find out where we can get you one of them, okay? I'm going to clear all that statistical mess out of the way because I'm doing statistics in another course, so you don't need to see that. But for what we're doing here, we're going to graph, if we've given an equation, we push the y equals button. It's got it right there. And I'm going to skip down here to the number 2 because number 1 is set as a plot. You don't want to see that. Then it just is a matter of entering in the equation that they give us. Oops. 5x, hang on, clear. Thank you. Back up. 5x minus 6, and I hit graph, and it would, of course, try that again. Y equals. Delete that. Thank you. 5x minus 6, and hit graph, and it would graph it out for us, and it looks like this line right here. Okay? Looks like this line going right here. This other one that you see right there is one from that plot that's over here. Plot. Okay? I can get rid of that plot. Second y equals, in case you have one turned on ever. Second y equals, go into it, and turn it off. Thank you. Now hit graph and it'll be gone. There's our y equals minus 6. Notice how it's crossing the y-axis at negative 6. That's when x is equal to 0. If I stuck y is equal to 0 and solved it, I would get 5/6 over here. Okay? Or 6/5 over here. And that's where the x-intercept is. Connecting the 2 points. All that simple. Okay? So, which one do you think is easiest? Using the x and the y-intercepts, the equation in its standard form? Remember, all I've got to do is I've got this equation right here. If I want to find the x and the y-intercepts, I'm going to stick 0 in for x. X equals 0. I'm going to wind up with 3y equals 12, or y is equal to 4. Well, there's my point. 0, 4. If I want to do find the y-intercept, x-intercept, I stick y is equal to 0. I get negative 2x equals 12. Divide by negative 2, I get x is equal to negative 6. So what does that mean? Y was equal to 0. So that point is negative 6, comma 0. Graph that on a grid. Negative 6, 0, I would go over negative 6 and put a point there. And then for the 0, 4, I would go up 4. And there's my line going from there to there. Just like that. Simple. Okay? If I was doing it with trying to find the x-intercepts, that's what they're doing, right? Graph the points, draw the line through it. Okay? So, 3 different methods for doing it. One is to find the slope. One is to, if you're given the slope, to go backwards and if you're given the line in the graph, find the slope, okay? And then use the y-intercept here as the second point, and use the slope-intercept form of the equation to write the equation down and turn it into the standard form. Any one of the 3 works. I hope this helps you in doing what you're doing. This is something we'd use in Class Connects. Not going to worry about it. What I'm going to point out to you is if you're looking for your homework, if you click on Lesson Resources, it's going to refer you to the reference guide, and you should be doing problems 51 through 56 in that problem set. Okay? You do the homework. You need help with it? Ask. I'll help you with any of them you want to have help with. Just got to ask me about them. Okay? So when you're calling me, when you're sending me emails, when you're sending me K-mails, anything like that, make certain you put your section number and the fact of what course you're in. I have a little over 300 students. I need to keep track of who's in which one, but I really have not got it all down quite yet. So make certain you're giving me that information, or else I will not be able to find you quickly. Okay? So I'll look for you next class period.